Hello and welcome back to Take Refuge 3D with me, Peter. Now today I want to talk about the raise degree command, which I think is the single most powerful and versatile tool that's been added to Plasticity in its recent 2024.1 update. Raise degree allows you to convert a sheet or a surface into a spline surface and edit its shape using control points. This allows you to make very complex organic shapes like this one on screen here very quickly without relying on lofts or patches. So you can concept out a surface like this almost without thinking about it once you get the hang of it. So stick around and let's have a look at how I made this car bonnet, or car hood if you're in America. And just before we do crack into it, if you're thinking of purchasing Plasticity, I am an affiliate and you can use the coupon code REFUGE10 for a 10% discount off the cost of Plasticity. Okay, so let's crack into it. What we'll do, we'll get rid of this. Just before I do anything, we'll just come and have a look at a cube quickly. And we'll change our Matcap back. Okay, and I'll show you what raise degree actually is and how it works. So in face mode, up here, or by pressing 3 on your keyboard, if I select a face, you can see that it says down here that it's a plane. And if I run the raise degree command by pressing F and then searching in my commands, you'll see here that it's set to Shift S by default. Okay, what you'll see is that now suddenly these green control points have popped up on my surface, and the name of the surface has changed to spline from plane. So what happens is if we select these control points actually by going into point mode, and we can grab them and we can drag them back and forth like that. Now that is no different to being able to grab an edge. So where it gets really powerful is that you can run this command again. So if we go Shift S, and now you'll see that we've got a 2x2 spline, so 2x2 instead of 1x1. Now if we select these control points now and start to pull them out, you'll see that we get a curvature and it interpolates between the other control points that are not selected. So your selected control points are getting moved around and your unselected ones are staying the same. And where this gets powerful is that you can start to do something like this, and then you could grab these ones here holding down Shift to select different control points, and we'll just make sure that we're deselecting that, and then we should be able to drag these ones like that. And then this middle one, we could even pull this middle one all the way in like that. So what you're seeing here, this is like a bit of a ridiculous case, but if we fill it all of these maybe, and then we fill it this, okay, we've just created a crazy surface without having to do any lofting or patching or using any guide curves. So that was really quick. You might lose a little bit of the precision that you get from using a guide curve, but if you're quickly concepting or just modeling in a flow state, I think this stuff's really great. So that's sort of roughly how it works. So let's make something. Let's try and make a car bonnet. So what I'll do here is I'm going to grab a corner rectangle. I'm going to press C to turn it into a center rectangle. I'm going to make it 100 centimeters wide by 140 long. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to press 1 on my keyboard to go into point mode and select these 2 points. And I'm going to press B to fillet them over. And we've got that. I'm going to go and run the patch command. Okay, pressing F and running patch. I've got it set to Alt F on my keyboard. So if you see me patching in the future, I am using a shortcut. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my curve because I don't need it anymore. And what we're going to do is we're going to run the raise degree twice. Okay, so we've got 2x2 with a total of 9 points. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to very slightly press S to scale and scale this out. Okay, I'm going to, at the top end, I'm going to do the same. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these ones again and I'm just going to bring them down. I'm going to bring these ones down ever so slightly, so it's kind of flattening out, if you can see. And then I'm going to grab this middle one, okay, and I'm going to drag it up. I might need to drag it up a little bit, okay, and you might not be able to see that. Now it's subtle, but it's an interesting shape. Now, sometimes you don't want to see the control points anymore, and you want to turn them off, okay? And especially if you've got a lot of things on scene, if you've got a lot of things on scene, it can start to get really convoluted really quickly. What you can do is you can go to your commands here, and you can go toggle point, and I've got it set to Z. I just set it there because Nick, the creator of Plasticity, when he did his tutorial, he had it set to Z. I wasn't really using Z for anything, so it's handy, and you will want to be using that quite a bit, so you can toggle it on and off. So find a nice easy shortcut. Okay, so now I've got this surface, and you can see that it is subtle, but it's got some shape to it. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to come down here, and we're just going to run this thicken sheet command. Okay, and actually I think I want to actually edit that a little bit further. I think I want this to be coming up like that. Okay, so now I'm going to press Z, get rid of those, and now I'm going to thicken the sheet. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about getting it looking perfect, because this is just a example. But now we've got this, we can now like run a ISO param, which is like a loop cut in Blender, by pressing Control R. Now it differs from a loop cut because it doesn't go all the way around. And I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm just going to scroll once. And what we'll do is we'll select these two, okay, and I'm just going to pull those up. Now I do want this to be a little bit narrower than that. So I want the outsides to be a little bit narrower. What we'll do next is I just want to rotate this one. So I'm going to press rotate, and if you look down here, we've got our context options. It tells you what everything does. I'm going to press V to choose a pivot, and I'm going to put that there. Okay, so I'm going to pull this one all the way around like that, just very slightly, just to give this a little bit. If you look from above, it's got a little bit of an angle. And now what we can do is we can press 4 to select body mode, solid mode, and I'm going to press X, and I'm just going to mirror that to the other side, and then I'm going to press Q to union merge that, okay, as a boolean. Okay, and as you can see, we're maintaining this curvature as we go. What I think I'll do next, I'm going to pull this out as a fillet. I'll just really be working on one side for now, okay, and then I'm also going to fillet this one. But as I'm filleting this one, I'm going to press V to add a variable point, and I'm going to try and make this one quite fat and this one quite narrow. And what you can see, what we're starting to develop as I mirror this across again, is a kind of bonnet of a sort of pseudo 1950s car, maybe something retro future like you would see out of Fallout. So now that we've got that, it's looking quite nice, and we can play around with things more and more, but for the sake of this, we'll just do another component to this. So let's give this a vent on the hood or the bonnet. Okay, I'm going to make another circle from the another square from the origin. I'm going to make it a center square. I'm going to press S to lock it to being an actual square, and we're going to make we're going to make it 32 centimeters wide by 37 centimeters long. Okay, so we've got this kind of vent. Now I just kind of want to place this curve approximately where I want it on the bonnet. Okay, so maybe up towards the top there. Okay, I'm just going to patch that in and delete the curve. Okay, and let's just not ISO param, let's just raise the degree twice on this one as well. Okay, and at the front of the vent, I want it to be wider. Okay, so we'll widen that out. Actually, I only want to raise the degree once to start with, and we'll widen that out. And now we've got I just want to get the shape kind of right. And I'll just go into 4, scale it, maybe a little bit like that. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to just thicken this sheet, okay, down to about like that, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the degree once, so the second time, so I've got this, and we can now start to bring this up a little bit, give it a little bit of oomph there. And then I think I want to take these two edges down a bit. So kind of like a bevel. Now you got to make sure that sometimes you've got face and point selected. You just want to be in point mode when you're messing around with these, otherwise you might get an error or you might move something that you don't want to move. Okay, so now we're getting this really cool shape, to be honest. And I'm going to do an isoparam, and I'm going to toggle these points off because I don't need them now. So I'm going to do an isoparam on this face. Okay, so it's, if you're doing a Control R isoparam or a loop cut, it's a good idea to have the face that you want selected. Otherwise it can get buggy. Okay, so I'm going to press the period key on my numpad to isolate this out, so we can just work on it on its own. So I'll pull this down a bit. Okay, and we'll put our isoparam in here now. And we want to pull this out a little bit at the front. Okay. And then what I want to do, pull it out at the front. Remembering to select it. Now I want to rotate this one very, very slightly. Okay. And let's go O for offset. And bring that through, make it a bit smaller. Okay, and we just bring that through like that. Okay, so now we've got this kind of hood. Now what I want to do, I'm going to press edge mode, number 2 to go into edge mode. I'm going to select these two, and now we can choose full fillet, which is also a new feature to Plasticity, and we get this full round fillet. So it gives us this nice rounded shape inside the vent, okay, for aerodynamics or whatever. I'm not engineering type, so I'm just making it up as I go along. Okay, so now we've got that. I'm just going to put a little cut here. 5 of these. And I just want to press O to offset that. And then we want to pull all of these up into the top of the hull of this. Okay, now that we've got them there, I'm going to bring them one by one, and we're just going to narrow them out a little bit, because these are like the little stands or the little pieces that are essentially holding this up, you know. Maybe a little bit fatter than that. And then one by one I want to do the full round fillet on these as well. Okay, so as you can see, we're starting to get a bit of a shape here. Now if we press period, we can go and have a look at it in the context of the hood of this car. Okay, and I reckon that's about ready to get booleaned together. Okay, so now what I do want to do quickly is just go and select this face down here and see if we can drag it through the base of the... Yep, so that's open like that. This is a little bit janky down here, but who cares? It's just, I'm not trying to make anything for production here. I'm just showing you how the tools work. So we got that working really quickly. We can start to add our fillets and things on the front of the car. We can do the same around here. Okay, and we can get really tricky with it. Here we go, we got the vent. Now we might not like the placement of it or anything like that, so what we can do is we can go into face mode and hold down shift and select right to left, left to right. Okay, and we would have selected all of these bits and pieces. Then we can press G, and we should be able to move it somewhere. This can get a bit buggy, like the more stuff that you're trying to select, or you can scale it down. In this case it's not really working, probably because of this stuff down here, but generally you would be able to grab that kind of stuff and move it around. So I'm just going to try one more time, figure out is there a reason why I can't do it. Oh yeah, it's kind of letting me move some stuff down there, but it's wanting to hang on to something there. So look, a bit of bad modeling on my part, but we can roughly move that. Now we can also start to scale our model and things like that, and I think this looks really cool. What we've essentially done is we've made a car bonnet in around about, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes. It's not the best in the world, and it's maybe not something you'd use for final production. Maybe it is, depending on what you're making. But I've made this really quickly. I haven't had to like loft any of these curves or anything like that. Now, if you were working on something like this, a concept like this, you may later on want to come in and you know, move into Xnerbs move into Xnerbs and start choosing some of these and Xnerbsing them in, you know, or patching or lofting and just getting a overall, you know, different shape. Xnerbs is not really doing a good job in that particular situation, but you get what I mean. We'll try this one. Okay, so it's that back end. Okay, so you can see there we're getting like a really nice shape on that Xnerbs there, and then we can just mirror the whole thing across. And yeah, so this, this tutorial was not supposed to be about Xnerbs. It was supposed to show you how useful the CV's editing is with Plasticity. So I hope you got something out of that, and remember, if you are, you know, you can use the code refuge10. Now, one other thing that we can look at is if we go into Blender, and it can be really useful in this sense as well. So like we can get our model in and we can refacet it to engons like so. Okay, and then we've got an engon based mesh. And then once you've got it into Blender, I don't know if it's going to work first time, but you've got something like quad remesher from Exercise, and you can just remesh it. Okay, it'll take a few seconds, and once it's remeshed, you've got like that mesh there, and then you can, I don't know, go into subdivision surface model. Okay. And you can start to bring it in, and then you could maybe edit it from there. So that's just something to look at. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on quad remesher and plasticity meshes in another time. But alright, thanks a lot for watching. Tschüss!